What's up guys, it's Rote here and welcome back to yet another amazing video in the channel. So for today I got you a Banlist prediction video. As you know, the Banlist is due any day now. I think that the Banlist will drop within the next week or two, and these are my predictions on what I think the Banlist should be in order to sort of fix the meta in a way and make it a generally more healthy game to be playing. So if you are new to these videos and you do like this type of content, make sure you do leave a like and subscribe down below. Also check out my shorts. There's a shorts there every single day and it's going really well. Leave a comment saying that I sent you and make my day. So without any further ado, let's get straight onto this Banlist prediction. So going off the first ban card, there are 3 ban cards on my list. I'll make sure I have a picture of them when I'm discussing them around here so you guys know what I'm on about. So for card number 1, I of course have Mystic Mine. If you guys have been seeing the recent competitive YuGiOh scenes, you'll be seeing that Mystic Mine has been absolutely dominating every single tournament, and every single topping list is either main decking or side decking Mystic Mine. Now why is this a problem, you may ask? Well, because Mystic Mine requires the fact that you need spell and trap removal in your deck. It's not like skill drain where you can activate monster effects in the graveyard to pop the skill drain like Entis, things like that, which allow you to out the skill drain. Mystic Mine is a blanket effect that affects the player. You cannot activate monster effects and you cannot attack as long as you control more monsters than your opponent. Now, the problem with Mystic Mine is the fact that you need to play spell and trap removal. This format right now consists of either playing a bunch of board breakers or a bunch of hand traps. And playing a bunch of either board breakers or hand traps means that there isn't really any space to be playing spell and trap removal. So Mystic Mine has been absolutely dominating the scene. I think Mystic Mine should be banned, and I think that a card like that shouldn't exist. A floodgate that powerful that basically promotes stall, promotes deck outs, and promotes like time burn and all that crap. You shouldn't be allowed to be doing that, and in my opinion, Mystic Mine needs to go. So for the second card here, we have Crystron Halqifibrax. Now this card I think has been around for too long. I think a lot of tuners have been banned instead of just banning the problem. It isn't that much of a problem now, you can say, as it was in the past, but I still think the card should go. The fact that it just lets you special a tuner out the deck, and then you can just do many combos with that. I just don't think it should be allowed. I think that Halqifibrax should be banned. This will allow us to bring back nice tuners off the ban list, like Glow Up Bulb and things like that will be able to be released off the ban list if Halqifibrax gets gone. And I just think that a tuner and a monster is still too generic and it allows for a lot of combo plays that really shouldn't be happening. I think Halqifibrax should be going. Also, this is another important fact, the fact they can tag out to TG, Wonder Magician, Pop, Scythe. I just think, again, it's a problem and it should be gone. Moving on to card number 3, I have Artifact Scythe. Now, I know Scythe is a card that has been dodging these ban lists for a very long time now, but I do think the card still needs to go. I think a generic floodgate to your opponent that you can summon multiple times a turn, because Scythe isn't once per turn, so if they do negate it and you manage to bring it back, it will activate again. Just generic lockout of the extra deck is really bad, guys, and the fact that the 2 tier 1 decks at the moment rely on that extra deck so much, I think Konami are finally going to hit the Scythe just to promote, a healthier game balance, and the fact that you can play these meta decks without getting completely locked out of Scythe. You can argue that Scythe has sort of rotated out of the format, or just ban Artifact Dagda, but I would prefer just banning the problem card, which is Artifact Scythe. And what you're going to do if the format slows down and Artifact Scythe comes back into the meta, we're not going to have to wait 4 months, 5 months again dealing with Artifact Scythe. So in my opinion, you should be banning Artifact Scythe outright and stopping these floodgates from really oppressing and controlling games. Moving on to the limited section, I have 1 card moving there that is at 3, and I have 2 cards that are banned coming to 1. So for the card that's going from 3 to 1, I think Super Polymerization, guys, is a card that should be hit to 1. I just think it's an insane card, this format. The fact that there's a fusion deck that can just abuse Super Poly, the fact it cannot be responded to, and the fact it's at 3 as well. You can do multiple times in a game, I think is ridiculous. I think it should be a powerful one-off like we've seen with Konami, with Red Reboot, with Pangratops, just powerful one-offs that you play and you hope you can draw them after you've sighted them in, for example, and if you draw it, you're in a good position. But I don't think it should be at 3. I think Super Poly, the fact it can't be responded to, I think all cards in general that can't be responded to shouldn't really be allowed, because it sort of mitigates the fact that YuGiOh is an interactive game and you're supposed to be interacting with your opponent on these interactions. Just the fact you can't respond to it, it absorbs 2 monsters, is ridiculous. I think they should hit Super Poly 2-1. Moving on to a card that is coming from the banned section to the limited section, I think Orcust Harp Horror has spent enough time on the ban list to be put now at 1. I think that Orcust as a deck, as a whole, isn't really that good anymore. It used to be insane, it used to be very splashable, I think that's what they're worried about, but with Nightmare Mermaid still banned and Orcust Harp Horror at 1, I don't think the deck is actually that good. So it requires a lot of bricks. You need to play the Orcust Nightmares, and you need to play a lot of Orcust cards that interact in the grave. I know the grave is very good, but also you have Exo Sisters now that if Orcust do become a bit of a problem, Exo Sisters will also benefit. So it's another way of sort of promoting a newer deck that, you know, can encourage players to pick it up as well. I think Exo Sisters is a very good shout out, but I think Orcust Harp Horror at 1 will just generally only be good because it will only help Orcust, and even if you do manage to splash in Orcust, I think that is more variety, and the more variety there is in the meta, I think the better. So I think Orcust Harp Horror can safely come to 1. I think it can come to 3 in my opinion, but let's play it safe and let's put it at 1 for now. I think Orcust Harp Horror is a fine card and should be at 1. Now for another banned card coming to 1, contradictory to what I said before, I think Thunder Dragon Colossus should be coming off the list. Why am I saying this after I literally just said that 2 floodgates need to be banned? Well, the fact that Ultimate Slayer was released in the latest set is the reason why I'm saying this. If Ultimate Slayer hadn't come out, I would happily have kept Thunder Dragon Colossus banned. The fact it's a fusion monster, which is the easiest to sort of out with Ultimate Slayer, and the fact that it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects normally, I think this was the perfect way of sort of introducing Thunder Dragons back into the meta in a way that can also promote the sales of the latest product, which is Power of the Elements, which is where Ultimate Slayer is in. I think Ultimate Slayer at the moment is a card that is good, but it hasn't really got a place because I just think Dark Ruler No More is a lot better. Maybe they limit Dark Ruler instead, put it to 1. Again, as I said, powerful one-offs that you hope you draw. But I do think bringing back Thunder Dragon Colossus will be, overall, there will be a good reception because it's a very loved card in terms of it's a very cool card, and the fact that it will push Ultimate Slayer to be ran in the main deck, especially if they hit Dark Ruler No More, because Ultimate Slayer is the perfect out for Thunder Dragon Colossus. It just shuffles it away and it cannot be responded to, and it overrides the protection that Thunder Dragon Colossus has. I just think there's a lot of outs nowadays. There's also Forbidden Droplets as well. Imperm is still being played, and Imperm can just deal with Thunder Dragon Colossus like back in the day. I think there's a lot of outs, especially with a lot of going second cards being played at the moment. I think Thunder Dragon Colossus, we can experiment with this and we can bring it to 1. If it's too much of a problem, we just ban it again next list like you do to Zodiac Trident. But I think for now, Thunder Dragon Colossus can come to 1 and we can really test what he can do. Now we're going to the semi-limited section, and this is a bit of a weird one in terms of the semi-limits don't really do much. You can either limit it or unlimit it or just ban it, and it's a lot more effective than putting it in the semi-limited list. This is sort of like the quarantine zone, you can say, for cards that are eventually going to go to 3, but they want to test it out first. So for the first card I have in the semi-limited list, I have Salamangreat Gazelle. Now Salamangreat Gazelle is still at 1. We have Circle at 3, we have 3 Signet Mining. I think getting back a Salamangreat Gazelle wouldn't be that big of an impact for Salads. Right now, Salads, I hate to say this, but they're not even the second best Cybers deck of the format. Right now we have Mathmex, we have Ignistas, we have Marincess, and then we have Salamangreats. So I think Salamangreats could do with that boost. It's one of those loved decks. Remember, it came in a structure deck, so a lot of people's first experiences of Yu-Gi-Oh! Were with Salamangreats. It had that famous Ash reprint in common, which I do think the next structure deck is also going to have. The Crystal Beast one is going to have a common Ash print. I think Salamangreat Gazelle can come back, and I think that Salads need a lot more than Gazelle, basically, to be competitive this format. I do think that they need some sort of new support to help renovate the deck. But I think Salamangreat Gazelle is perfect at 2, and I think you can put it to 3, but they're going to be putting it to 2 first, and then they will see that it basically does nothing, and then it will go to 3. So for the first card I have, for now, Salamangreat Gazelle. For the second semi-limited card here, I have True Draco with Dynamite Knight. Now this again is a card I think can go to 3. I think True Dracos have been murdered for the last few years now. They got a lot of hits, and I know there was a deck that everyone hated because they played a lot of Floodgates. I think that True Draco Dynamite Knight can at least come back to 2, and the True Draco would still be nowhere near the current meta. I just don't think they're consistent enough at the moment with Card of Demise to 1 and Dragonic Diagram to 1 to really warrant the fact that Dynamite Knight coming to 2 might do anything. They still have Masterpiece banned as well. I haven't brought that back. Again, one of those cards that's really, really degenerate in my opinion, which Masterpiece is unaffected by a bunch of things and has a quick effect to destroy. But Dynamite Knight to 2 I think is fine. They brought back on the last list, they brought back the Trap of the True Dracos, and now I think they can bring back the Trap Searcher. So I think Dynamite Knight to 2 is perfectly fine. Now for the final semi-limited card, this is a bit of a hot take, but I'll explain to you my reasons why. I think Miscellaneous Saurus can actually come to 2. Now, we all know Miscellaneous Saurus is an insane card, but you need to think about it like this. Dinosaurs are set to release brand new support very, very soon. If you haven't seen the support, you should check it out. It's actually very good. Now, I think they're going to want to promote the support, and they're going to want to bring back Miscellaneous Saurus to 2. Also, dinosaurs at the moment haven't done anything in the competitive scene for at least a year or two. Since Miscellaneous went to 1, the deck was absolutely murdered. It was at 3, which I do agree was a bit oppressive, but then again, they already have 3 Fossil Dig, 3 Miscellaneous, 3 Soul Eating Oviraptor, and all of these can search the Miscellaneous Saurus anyway. So I think that having 2 Miscellaneous Saurus wouldn't be that bad. Again, if it is too powerful, you can just simply knock it back down to 1. I think Konami should really be experimenting more with these cards. I would like to see a bit more movement in the lists. They always play it really, really safe. I think that knocking a few cards down, maybe a bit prematurely, could actually work out. They did it with Change of Heart, and again, Change of Heart has done absolutely nothing. I'm leaving it at 1 though, because I think it's very, very powerful if you do draw it. So I'm going to leave it at 1 for now. It hasn't really done much. Again, with Red Reboot and Pancratops, they're very powerful at 1. I don't think they can warrant being at 2 or 3. But I think in the case of Miscellaneous Saurus, since dinosaurs are getting new support, and the fact that Miscellaneous Saurus also helps Dynamorphias and things like that, and other dinosaur decks, I think maybe we could experiment with this to 2. And again, if it's too powerful, you can just knock it back down to 1. Now moving on to the unlimited section, here are cards that are at 3 and are no longer affected by the list. So for the first one, we have Pot of Desires. As you know, recently it was limited and then moved to the semi-limit list. I now think it can complete the trifecta and move to the unlimited list. Pot of Desires is a card that is very good in certain decks. Now we have more powerful alternatives like Pot of Prosperity and Pot of Extravagance, and I just think Pot of Desires should have never been hit in the first place, and I think it was sort of to hinder Sword Soul in a way, but I think Sword Soul have really just fallen off as well. That a deck that I don't think needs to be touched at all really, and Pot of Desires at 3 would help just a lot more than Sword Soul. A lot of road decks rely on Pot of Desires. I think Pot of Desires at 3 would be perfectly fine. For another card coming to 3, I have Destiny Hero Malicious. Now, Malicious is a card that basically is the only card I can justify having on the semi-limited list. But I think now that heroes are just not powerful enough in the meta and they need that little bit of extra boost. Of course, they'll be getting support in the future. Heroes, Dark Magician and Blue Eyes always do. But I think for the time being, Destiny Hero Malicious to 3 will really not do that much. They'll have to play an extra sort of brick in the deck. And I don't think it would actually help them too much in the fact that they will take over the meta and it'll be a problem. In fact, I think heroes are a very versatile deck with Dark Claw and Malicious Bane and things like that, and I think it actually be kind of cool to see heroes with a bit more representation. So I think Destiny Hero Malicious to 3 would be perfectly fine. Another card on the unlimited list, we have Trickstar Lightstage. This card has actually been seeing some use in the Sprite decks because it gives them access to a free level 2. But again, I think that the field spell is perfectly fine at 3. It lets you blank a spell and trap as well, which is kind of nice. And if you have been seeing the list, they're not even playing 2, they'll be playing 1 of it anyway. So I think help out those pure Trickstar players, all 3 of them that are out there still, and give them 3 field spells. So Trickstar Lightstage can easily come back to 3. And for the final card of the unlimited section, this is going off the fact that Mystic Mine is banned. We have Metaverse. So Metaverse is a card that if Mystic Mine is banned, it can easily come back to 3. It was fine at 3 when it came out until Mystic Mine was released. So Mystic Mine gets banned, Metaverse can then just be put back to 3. There isn't really any other good floodgate targets, maybe Necro Valley that Metaverse can like activate straight from the deck. I think Necro Valley is actually a cool tech option for now. Again, if it becomes too oppressive, you can always hit back Metaverse to 1, because Metaverse at more than 1 lets it be track trickable, which was the whole reason why it got put down to 1, because of Mystic Mine. You can go track tricks into Metaverse and then Metaverse into the Mystic Mine. But if Mystic Mine is banned, I think the Metaverse can easily come back to 3. So that is the end of my ban list discussion. There are a bunch of other cards that can easily be moved around. Again, I'm just saying my takes on what I think are the most likely ones. Of course, there'll be some that I miss, some that I suggest that won't come off. That's just how ban list speculation works. Of course, there's also the pendulum cards, Personally, I don't know enough about Pendulum to be able to accurately give you a good list of them. So if any Pendulum players out there, please do leave in the comments down below what Pendulum cards you would unban. I know that Electromite is banned, and I know bringing off Electromite could be a bit too powerful, but again, with all the other magicians, where would you place them on the list? I don't think Pendulums have any representation at the moment. I think they were expected to. I know there's a Pendulum archetype in the OCG that's doing sort of well, so please do let me know and inform me on that. So if you do like this type of content, as I said in the beginning, please do subscribe down below. We have received a bunch of subscribers recently, and I'm very thankful to all of you. And all I ask of the new viewers who are not subscribed to just hit that subscribe button and let me know that you do enjoy these videos. So I'm Rogue to here, and I'll see you.
It's time!